In this update, we have another powerful trough that will be moving in, going negatively tilting further to the south. Unfortunately, we've got yet another round of severe storms and what could be a tornado outbreak heading into Friday. Further to the north, we've got a deepening area of low pressure, and that will set the stage for a big time snowstorm and blizzard-like conditions further to the north. So there is a lot going on, folks. So I appreciate all my followers out there. This channel is up to 225,000 subscribers. If you'd like to follow along throughout the 2024 season, I'm here almost on a daily basis. I put out about 27 videos a month, so I put out a lot of content. So subscribe to the channel and follow all my daily breakdowns. So let's take a look at what the setup was the last 48 hours as far as the snowfall, because we've had a lot of systems come through, and that more significant system originated down here into New Mexico, into the Texas Panhandle. Look at the graph at the top of the screen here. All those areas in light blue are 1 to 2 inches, a little bit darker blue, 2 to 4 inches. You start getting into the yellow shaded areas around 6 to 8 inches around Kansas into Nebraska. But yeah, there were pockets of 8 to 12 across Iowa, and even portions of Iowa City yesterday picked up 15 inches of snowfall, and that snow inundated northern Illinois as well as went up portions of Michigan. And then there's the second half of the storm that impacted the Northeast with that additional snowfall. For further to the south, we had the severe weather aspect of it too. So we had those storms. The areas in red are highlighted for tornado warnings. The areas in yellow are severe thunderstorm warnings. So just in the last 2 days, for January the 8th and 9th, we had a total of 360 warnings take place across southeast Texas, through the New Orleans region, up here along the corridor of I-10 and I-20. All of Florida just got nailed, and then up the coast across the Carolinas and out towards Virginia. And unfortunately, a lot of the same areas are going to get hit on Thursday and Friday of this week, because we have another dynamic storm system that will be moving across, and that also goes that negatively tilted trough that will be having the lift mechanism associated with it to create all the dynamics in the atmosphere. So here's the setup further to the north. We are going to be seeing more snow likely going to break out across New Mexico as we head into that Thursday night time frame. Yet another snowstorm originating across the Texas Panhandle. That will have a lot of lift associated with it through western Oklahoma, through western portions of Kansas, and then the heavier snows will really start to fall to the northwest of into Iowa, and especially into southern portions of Minnesota here, and then eventually heading up into Wisconsin. While further to the south, we are going to be having to deal with more severe storms, because we've got yet 2 systems coming. So this is going to the main one that we're going to highlight that will kick off the severe aspect of the storm further south, and then the blizzard to the north. And yet we have another system trailing in the wings, and that one promises to drop a little bit further south, because it's going to be feeling the effects of Arctic cold invading the US by then, and that's going to pull it a little bit further south. So yes, we're talking wintry precipitation as well further south than the one I'm about to show you. So here's the setup for your temperatures heading into Thursday afternoon. You can already see the Arctic air really starting to build across British Columbia up here in Canada, through Alberta, through Saskatchewan. It gets dangerously cold in the 20 to, if not 30 degrees below zero, and these are like high temperatures, folks. This is not even the coldest time, but look at the warm sector further south. So that's where we have the severe storms, because we still got a lot of warm air further south waiting for this Arctic air to invade that region, and it will. But we are going to be having to contend with severe storms before that gets here. So heading into that Thursday time frame with that negatively tilted trough, we are going to be concerned about tornadic spin up tornadoes like originally that we saw in some of the same areas in southeast Texas and to East Texas, but especially into Louisiana, heading into Arkansas here and heading into portions of Mississippi. And I really feel this just amplifies, and this actually looks even stronger than the setup that I just showed you that produced 360 warnings, folks. This could be a widespread tornado outbreak. Unfortunately, it's already an enhanced risk, but I would not be surprised if they up this to a moderate risk. We're talking widespread, extensive winds. If you're within this hatched risk area, essentially from almost Mobile back into Montgomery through the Tallahassee region, across the Atlanta region, back into Columbia, into Charlotte, all the way up into Raleigh. This is the most favored area of seeing tornadoes, if not almost strong tornadoes, very high winds, and some larger hail associated with these storms that will be taking place throughout that Friday time frame. So today's kind of the like little respite day, but all the fuel is just regenerating and will be going through Thursday and that Friday time frame for severe storms. But further to the north, wow, we've got a bona fide blizzard on our hands, folks. I mean, the ensemble members have been printing out a nasty storm. This low pressure even drops more than the one that you just went through across the Ohio Valley and the upper Midwest. Now we're talking a 973 millibar. That is definitely some deepening low pressure. Very high winds as the snow will be starting to crank. So as it gets up here into the Great Lakes, it does appear that it actually slows down, and we could have a lot of lake effect induced snowfalls with this. So yeah, this could be a very dynamic system. I don't think all the models and the data has really grasped the full strength of this storm as of yet, but it will once a lot more of the mesoscale guidance gets mixed into this model data. They're going to be really seeing the true impact of this very powerful storm down to a 974 millibar here. Just on the latest update, we could have very heavy snow again, northern Illinois, back into Iowa. So all that snow that's on the ground now, not going to melt, especially with that Arctic air and the second surge here by later this week. All this is just going to be heavy snow, and it's not going to be like that wet snow that you just went through. This is going to be like that powdery snow, because the temperatures are going to be feeling the effect of that Arctic blast coming southbound, and the heavy snows, blinding snows, 1-2 inch, if not almost 3 inches per hour at times, should be cranking up here into Wisconsin, but especially into Michigan here, as this low pressure center is right up near the lake, and there's definitely signs that it could start to slow down up here. I'm at 970 low pressure here. That is a powerful storm. That is really significant, especially with all these warmer lakes here still, because of all the heat we dealt with in December. Yeah, we could be picking up some pretty significant totals, especially if you live along these lakes. We're talking feet of snow. I'm not showing you that right now. I'm going to show you some of the more conservative data, or the blended data as far as the snowfall totals, but they're still pretty impressive as this storm will continue to amplify. I mean, that's a low pressure at 968. That is very significant, and it's almost on par. I'm not saying it's going to be the 1978 blizzard, but a 978 up in this neck of the woods, yeah, I mean, that was right up on par as far as the low pressure back in the day in the 1978 one. We're right there, folks. So if this system does slow down, and if not almost stalls, it could dump some very serious heavy snowfall on this region. So we'll have to, fine tune this and watch this all come together. But this is, 78 hours out. So yes, this could easily slow down, but the winds are going to be significant. Just like what we saw, they could even be up the ante. Again, I don't think these winds are getting the full impact of what you're likely going to see. You're going to be looking at widespread 50 and 60 mile per hour plus winds with this dynamic system as this continues to race up across the Great Lakes. So here's the blended view. This is more the conservative view. This is typically what the National Weather Services use because it throws out the lower end and the higher end and kind of gives you the blend of all the models or what they're saying right now. So it's obviously the most conservative view as far as the snowfall totals, you know, going out 96 hours, but still paints a good swath of snow, at least a foot across these regions in the northern Illinois, portions of, you know, Wisconsin here, heading up onto the almost the entire state of Michigan. Look, notice these little higher numbers across the lakes. I mean, these are likely going to be conservative because I am concerned about this lake effect enhanced. You know what lake effect does, like in Buffalo. I mean, it doesn't take long for those winds to be cranking at the right direction to pump out 3 and 4 and almost 5 inch per hour snowfall rates. You could get some serious totals in a short amount of time. So that is one aspect of this storm that you got to be concerned about as this is going to continue to lift up to the northeast. But then after that, we've got the true Arctic air that we've been talking about, and everybody's going to be really feeling it, especially up there in Canada where it's going to get dangerously cold. That's an air temperature, and that's a high 45 below zero. That is some serious dangerous stuff. That puts the wind chill well into the 60 and 70 below zero range. Yes, those negative numbers dive into Montana, dive into the Dakotas, into Nebraska, all the way through Kansas, and we're talking single digits start to impact Oklahoma for highs as the Arctic air continues to drop southbound as we go into that Saturday night, Saturday evening time frame. So while that comes in, that storm system I showed you at the beginning of the video is into the middle of the Pacific Ocean right now. Now that's going to be a short wave impacting the Rockies by the time we head into that Sunday afternoon. That's when the Arctic air taps into this energy, and it's a shallow air mass. Remember, Arctic air travels fast, it's dense, and it's a lot colder than a lot of models pick up at, but it's feeling the effects of this short wave of snow really starting to fly across Kansas, and that should start to break out into the Oklahoma region as the Arctic air will continue to impact going into Saturday afternoon. You see single digits now in Oklahoma, getting into the teens in Arkansas, getting in their 20 degrees in the middle of the afternoon for the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That's some serious stuff. Or further south, and we could be dealing with some snow, if not ice. Remember, this is a shallow air mass. So on the initial stage of this, yes, it could literally still be 20 degrees in Dallas and have freezing rain. Yes, that is possible because we'll have the warmer air aloft with this shallow deepening air mass. Arctic air sinks. We live at the surface, not above. So yes, it could be a difference of 20 and 30 degrees, you know, just a little bit higher up in the atmosphere, 4,000 or 5,000 feet, than what it could be at the surface. But we're seeing all snow as all layers of the atmosphere will be, freezing that column of air. And when that happens, it's all snow. So we're talking places like Oklahoma City into the Tulsa region, easily 2 to 4 inches of snow with this system. And then we've got to be concerned about ice, especially east of Dallas, East Texas. It could start to bleed into portions of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but then it just dives southbound as the snow will be cranking into Arkansas as we wake up Monday morning with negative numbers in the Oklahoma region, right? That's air temperature. That's not feels like. That is what it's air temperature. So you know that's pretty significant Arctic blast as the cold air will continue to invade Illinois, 13 below zero, 14 below. This is all snow on the ground. So you know that's not going to be melting anytime soon with negative numbers as the ice could continue to drop southbound. So it's definitely not out of the question. Depending on how strong this short wave is, we could pull some energy, but whatever falls, it'd likely be in the initial stages of freezing rain. And of course, whatever falls would likely not melt for an extended period of time because we're looking to stay below freezing up here in Oklahoma, likely 5 days at least. Could be closer into Dallas, maybe 3 to 4 days below freezing, and then further south still hit the freezing mark. But this cold air promises to head all the way down to the deep south and clear back into Mexico, as this same storm system will be lifting up into the northeast as the cold air continues to shift and expand slightly eastward. So now we're talking the heavy snows are going to be elongated into Tennessee, into Kentucky. This is heading into that Monday time frame, into Tuesday morning. And then we'll be watching the potential for a heavy snowfall event up here into the northeast as it feels the effects of that Arctic air and has it's got more colder air to deal with. So yes, with this system, we're on the more snow side rather than the rainy side, because you'll have that cold air inundating that region, because the Climate Prediction Center from literally Monday through Friday, all of next week, has the heart of the lower 48 feeling the effects of that Arctic blast that will plunge all the way down into the deep south and swing over to Florida, but especially across the upper Midwest through the Ohio Valley. They're going to get the full brunt of this significant Arctic blast and be almost below zero for an extended period of time, even across these regions through Illinois, especially with that snowpack. So yeah, even freezing temperatures could be 10, it's a long time. So this is a true Arctic blast that will be entering the United States heading into that Thursday and really start to amplify heading into next week. So guys, I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video, definitely hit the subscribe button, and catch me next update. Wire protect you before and after the storm.